From all of us on the City Council, some of us are here that are here this morning. We wish you a good morning and welcome to all of you for joining us this morning in Menifee's 2016 Veterans Day, a ceremony to celebrate, honor, and give thanks not only to Menifee's great veterans and their families, but to all veterans, past and present, living or not, from all over our great land, the USA. As always, a special thanks to the Community Services Department and the volunteers throughout all city departments for working together to make this program possible. I think a rather rich testimony to the city is that Veterans Day celebrations are taking place all over our city, not only today, but throughout the week. Before I turn the mic back over to Robert, I'd like to take a couple of moments and share with you an editorial written by Anthony Barton Hinkle that first appeared in the Richmond Times-Dispatch in November 1995, titled, "What is a Veteran?" Mr. Hinkle wrote, "Some veterans bear visible signs of their service, a missing limb, a jagged scar, a certain look in their eye. Others may carry evidence inside them, a pin holding a bone together, a piece of shrapnel in the leg, or perhaps another sort of inner steel, the soul's ally in a refinery of adversity. Except in parades and like ceremonies we have today, the men and women who have kept America safe wear no badge or emblem. You can't tell a vet just by looking. He or she may be the cop on the beat who spent 6 months in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, or Afghanistan, sweating 2 gallons a day, making sure the armored personnel carriers didn't run out of fuel. He may be the common barroom loudmouth, numbered than 5 wooden planks, whose overgrown frat boy behavior is outweighed 100 times by the cosmic scales of 4 hours of exquisite bravery near the 38th parallel in Korea. She or he is the nurse who fought against futility, went to sleep sobbing every night for 2 solid years in Da Nang, Vietnam. They are the POWs who went away one person, came back another, or didn't come back at all. The Quantico drill instructor who has never seen combat, but has saved countless lives by turning slouchy, no-account rednecks and gang members into Marines, teaching them to watch each other's backs. They are the 3 anonymous heroes in the tomb of the unknowns, whose presence at the Arlington National Cemetery must forever preserve the memory of all anonymous heroes whose valor dies unrecognized with him on the battlefields and the ocean's sunless deep. He is the old guy, and I remember this for some of you that are my age, bagging groceries at the supermarket, palsy and aggravatingly slow, who helped liberate a Nazi death camp, and who wishes all day long that his wife were still alive to hold him when the nightmares come. The veteran is an ordinary yet extraordinary human being, a person who offered some of life's most vital years in service to his country, sacrificing ambition so others wouldn't have to sacrifice theirs. They are our soldiers, the savior and the sword against the darkness, and nothing more than the finest, greatest testimony on behalf of the finest, greatest nation ever known. So remember, they're also the homeless among us and are forgotten. Wrote that at the bottom, sorry. So remember, each time you see someone who has served our country, just lean over and say, thank you. That's all most people need, and in most cases it will mean more than any medals that could have been awarded or were awarded. So to all veterans, from me and I know from all of you, God bless you and thank you so very much.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mayor Pro Tem August, City Council members, Mayor-elect Neil Winter, fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's Veterans Day celebration in the city of Menifee. With Thanksgiving, so much Thanksgiving that this election season is finally over. Amen. I especially thank you for coming out today and helping us celebrate one of America's greatest treasures, its veterans. Today we have about 1.2 million active duty service members in the United States military. They can be found working on amphibious assault ships like the USS Macon Island. They can be seen training recruits at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. They are monitoring airspaces and flight patterns at overseas air bases, and they are conducting mountain warfare training at Fort Drum, New York. Along with those members, we also have about 21 million veterans here in America and really around the world. Of that number, there are about 16 million who are what they call war experience, with another 5 million who are not. Now, I got to tell you right now, let me make a point to say that it does not matter whether one has served in a designated combat zone or not. The fact that they volunteered to serve, they wore the uniform, and they served proudly are enough to warrant respect and admiration for America's veterans. In this audience today, we undoubtedly have veterans who have served in every war era since World War II. So at this time, I'd like to ask, if you served during the World War II era and you are able, please stand. Or raise your hand. You may be seated. Thank you, sir. If you served during the Korean War era, please stand. Thank you. Be seated. If you served during the Vietnam War era, please stand. I certainly thank you all. Please be seated. If you served during the Persian Gulf War era, or the Gulf War era, which still exists today, please stand. This includes time in Operation Desert Storm up until the present. Thank you. And very specifically, if you served during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, please rise. Thank you. Allow me now to take just a few more minutes to tell you about one of Menifee's own. His face is familiar to many of us, but perhaps his story is not. This young man was born in January 1926 in the small town of Riverdale, Illinois, which, if you don't know, is just south of the city of Chicago. He actually wanted to join the military at age 16, but wisely his mother prevented him from doing so. Nevertheless, he got his wish, and the next year, at age 17, he joined the United States Navy. During World War II in 1943, he participated in naval convoys going back and forth between the east coast of the United States and the African continent. He was assigned on a ship called the USS Bogue, which at the time was an escort carrier. The Bogue has the distinction of sinking at least 3 German U-boats, and if you know a little bit about naval history, you know that the German U-boats were some of the most feared vessels in the high seas, particularly because of the havoc that they caused on naval shipping. This gentleman worked in the ship's boiler room among steam plants and other hazardous spaces. He was later assigned to the USS Hornet, which is the famed aircraft carrier in naval lore. In 1944, after the Hornet's participation in the liberation of the Philippines, he was later assigned for training to the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Soon after, he again found himself in the Atlantic Ocean, hunting down more German U-boats. A short time later, victory was declared, the war was over, and the men and women of our armed services came home. After the war, he returned to the Chicago area and met and married his bride, Charlene, and they began raising a family, 4 kids, in fact. At some point later, he attended the American Television Laboratory School using the GI Bill, which was actually brand new at the time. He was an entrepreneur, and he did so many things, I actually had trouble trying to capture everything that this young man did. But among other things, he was a milkman, he owned and operated a print shop, he owned and operated Mr. Softy ice cream trucks. Yes, he sold cars, he was an avid private pilot, and he was a real estate agent, and that's just a few of the things that he did in his life. In 2003, he moved to Sun City in order to be closer to his family. He was a member of the Destroyer Escort Sailor Association, the American Legion. He was the past commander and current member of the VFW Post 1956 here in Sun City, Menifee, a member of the Lions Club, the Elks, and Menifee Crime Watch. This man loves our city and has served it and America with pride and distinction. We all know him. So at this time, sir, if you are able to stand, Mr. Dick Haynes, please stand to be recognized. Thank you, Dick. Thank you. You know, Menifee has veterans from various backgrounds, and they all come together to make Menifee, in my opinion, one of the greatest cities in Riverside County. I know they're not here today, but we have Susie and Chris Proctor. I don't know if she's here or not, but I had the distinct privilege of working and serving with Susie during our first paid vacation to Iraq. We have Councilman Greg August, and if you don't know, Greg actually, he has his Air Force garb on right now, but he actually served in the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. You don't meet too many people who've done that. We have several other veterans in our midst today. We have Anthony Christopher, Mr. Kenneth Limerick. Kathleen Harrison is not here, but we have Mr. Jerry Thacker. Jerry is somewhere out there. You heard from him earlier. Mr. Tony Espaillo, Korean War veteran. Mr. Al Vieira, Michael Cano, Joe Solano, who's part of the city staff. Joe, Uri, he's a Marine Corps veteran. Gus Saldana, Mr. Jim Wallace, Grant Yoders, who's not here. Mayor Scott Mann, Wayne Shuey, among many others, all valuable members who contribute to the fabric, the rich fabric of the city of Menifee. In closing, I want to say thank you for coming out today. Thank you to all of America's veterans. Thank you to all who have served. But I also want to say thank you to all who served on the home front. You did a fantastic job while we were away doing the nation's business. So I really appreciate that. So please enjoy the rest of the day. May God bless you. May God bless the city of Menifee. And more importantly, may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.